All right, everybody, welcome to the Extra Point. This is episode 18. This is also the week number 3 NFL recap show. We're going to go through all of the scores of this weekend's games, including the game that just ended between Green Bay and Chicago. But first, here's our top story tonight. George Blanda, who spent 26 years in the NFL. He was a quarterback and place kicker. Spent 26 years in the NFL. Played for the Chicago Bears, the Houston Oilers, and the Oakland/Los Angeles Raiders. Died today at the age of 83. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family. We'll probably have more in-depth on George Blanda later on in the week. But for now, let's start with our recap of week number 3. We'll start with yesterday's games, and we'll start in New Orleans, where the defending Super Bowl champion New Orleans Saints had all sorts of problems stopping Atlanta on defense, stopping the Atlanta Falcons. Tony Gonzalez for the Falcons was a terror. 8 receptions, 110 yards, and a touchdown. Matt Ryan for the Falcons went 19 for 30, 228, 2 touchdowns. The Atlanta Falcons defeated the New Orleans Saints 27-24. Drew Brees did throw for 3 touchdown passes. In Kansas City, the Kansas City Chiefs go to 3-0. They defeated the San Francisco 49ers 31-10. Matt Castle went 16 out of 27, 250 yards and 3 scores. Frank Gore did have 102 yards receiving for San Francisco. And earlier today, San Francisco 49ers head coach Mike Singletary fired his offensive coordinator Jimmy Ray. The Minnesota Vikings got their first win of the season yesterday as they defeated the Detroit Lions 24-10. Brett Favre went 23 out of 34, 201 yards and a touchdown. They're still having problems finding a top-notch receiver in Minnesota. They're trying to find anything and everything possible to help Brett Favre in the receiving game, but they did get help in the running game. Adrian Peterson did rush for 160 yards and 2 scores. The Dallas Cowboys got their first win of the season in Houston as they defeated the Texans 27-13. Tony Romo went 23 out of 30, 284 yards, 2 touchdowns. Marion Barber also contributed in the running game, 55 yards and a score. So the Dallas Cowboys get off the schneid and avoid an 0-3 start, which probably would have sent the city of Dallas and Cowboys fans everywhere into a major uproar, calling for Wade Phillips' head on a silver platter. But that didn't happen, at least for now. Cowboys get their first win. The Carolina Panthers are still having issues. Despite having a change at quarterback, they lose to the Cincinnati Bengals yesterday 20-7. Carson Palmer threw for 195 yards and a touchdown. Jimmy Clausen in his first start as an NFL quarterback threw for 188 yards. But it wasn't nearly enough. Carolina's still having problems trying to move the football. They can't seem to get the running game going despite D'Angelo Williams running for 64 yards. The New England Patriots defeated the Buffalo Bills 38-30. Tom Brady threw for 3 touchdown passes, 252 yards to go along with it. They defeated Buffalo Bills 38-30. BenJarvus Green-Ellis for the Patriots has really taken on the running back role in New England after Lawrence Maroney's release in New England. He rushed for 98 yards and a touchdown. The Tennessee Titans went into the New Meadowlands to face the New York Giants and didn't have any trouble. 29-10 over the Giants. Vince Young threw for 118 yards, 1 touchdown. Chris Johnson went 32 carries, 125 yards, 2 touchdowns. Titans win 28-10. They got a lot of help on defense as well. The Baltimore Ravens defeated the Cleveland Browns yesterday 24-17. Anquan Bolden caught 8 passes, 142 yards and 3 scores to help Baltimore improve their record to 2-1. They're going to be at Pittsburgh next week. And speaking of Pittsburgh, they didn't have any problems traveling down to Tampa to take on the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers coming into this game undefeated, a surprisingly undefeated football team, but they could not contend with that Pittsburgh defense. Pittsburgh wins at 38-13. Charlie Batch, who's the third quarterback on the depth chart, Second different quarterback to play for Pittsburgh so far this season. Dennis Dixon went down with an injury. Ben Roethlisberger still suspended until after next week. So Charlie Batch comes in, doesn't miss a beat. He threw for 186 yards, 3 touchdowns. 2 of those touchdowns went to Mike Wallace. Steelers on a roll. They're undefeated. They, like I said, will face Baltimore next week. The Oakland Raiders had a chance to win the football game as time expired yesterday against the Arizona Cardinals, but Sebastian Janikowski pushed a field goal wide to the left. They lose 24-23. Bruce Gradkowski threw for 255 yards and a touchdown. Darren McFadden for Oakland rushed for 105 yards and a touchdown. Everything seems to be going right for Oakland, but you know, you got to win the close ones, and that's why you have a veteran kicker like Sebastian Janikowski in Oakland, but Janikowski failed to come through for them in the clutch. The Seattle Seahawks got 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns by Leon Washington to go along with Tim Hasselbeck's day, 19 for 32, 220 yards and a touchdown, and they got a great defensive performance, a great defensive stand there in the end. The Seattle Seahawks defeated the San Diego Chargers 27-20. The Seahawks improved to 2-1. The Indianapolis Colts improved to 2-1. They defeated the Denver Broncos 27-13. Peyton Manning 27 for 43, 325 yards, 3 touchdowns. 2 of those touchdowns went to Austin Collie. So the Colts will travel down to Jacksonville next week while the Broncos face the Tennessee Titans. Kyle Orton went 37 for 57, 476 yards and a touchdown, but it wasn't enough. Kind of sounded like Peyton Manning's day in Houston back in week number 1. The St. Louis Rams got their first win of the season. They defeated the Donovan McNabb-led Washington Redskins 30-16. Sam Bradford went 23 out of 37, 235 yards and a score. For the Rams, that's a big win as they host the Seattle Seahawks next week. The Philadelphia Eagles traveled down to Jacksonville and defeated the Jaguars 28-3. Michael Vick threw for 3 touchdown passes to go along with his 291 yards. Things just not going right in Jacksonville as they fall to 1-2. The New York Jets traveled to South Florida for a Sunday night showdown against the Dolphins. Mark Sanchez had another incredible day, 256 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. The Jets beat the Dolphins 31-23. This was a game that had all sorts of offense, not much defense, but all it takes is one defensive stand to get a win, and that's what happened as the Jets survive Miami. And in tonight's game, 20-17, the Bears over the Packers. This game just ended. Jay Cutler went 16 out of 27, 221 yards and a score. Aaron Rodgers threw for 316 yards and a touchdown and a pick. Jermichael Finley had 9 catches for 115 yards for Green Bay. Green Bay outgained Chicago by over 100 yards and still lost the football game. This has been your Week 3 recap show for the NFL. Join me later on in the week as I give you more in-depth analysis and things going on in sports. We got Major League Baseball, pennant races, divisional races heating up right here to the very end before leading into the playoffs. The Yankees have fallen off the face of the earth. Tampa Bay is just skyrocketing in that division. Looks like they may win the division unless something else happens. We still got some time left. The Rangers have won their division. The Twins have won their division. Phillies won their division. So we got a lot of stuff going on right now in Major League Baseball. Stay tuned for that. For now, this is the Relentless Rebel. This was the Extra Point, and I'll be seeing you guys down the road.